average person sleeps for 7 to 8 hours a night, while the average college student sleeps for 4 to 5 hours. Although during finals week, this number plummets. Most students rely on having to pull all-nighters to catch up on their studies and try to do well on their tests. Although this may seem like a good idea at first, this is not the long-term solution to this problem. Students should space out their studying rather than cramming it all in one night. I speak from experiences that pulling all-nighters does not mean better grades, and at all costs you should avoid them. According to a study done at Texas A&M, your brain loses efficiency for every hour that passes by without sleep. So this means that you should conduct your studying earlier in the day when your brain is more efficient rather than late at night in long study sessions such as an all-nighter, which your brain is operating on the lowest efficiency. Pulling all-nighters only engage your short-term memory rather than your long-term memory, which your long-term memory is better for recall when taking tests rather than short-term memory. You can only store a certain amount of memory in your brain, which is not as useful as you would think, because pulling an all-nighter, you're cramming yourself with a lot of information that would be much better suited if it was in your long-term memory. Second, study during the time that works best for you and in a setting that works best. Like I said earlier, studying earlier in the day while your brain is operating at its most efficiency is the most optimal way to get around this. The type of health drawbacks is this messes up your circadian rhythm. So you could be sleeping 7 to 8 hours a night, or 4 to 5 hours as the average college student, and then you go not sleeping for a 24-hour period. You'll be backed up for up to 2 weeks, and the first initial 3 days will be really sucky because you'll be very tired. You'll be catching up on sleep debt. So when you are pulling an all-nighter and you go and take your test, you're going to have trouble recalling all your information because you're drowsy. You're, like I said earlier, you only engage your short-term memory, and you're really just trying to get through the test at this point because you're so tired you want to go home and you want to sleep. Also, deprivation of essential cycles during your sleep. So this means your REM cycle, which is imperative to recalling and remembering information that you studied. So when you don't sleep and get these REM cycles, you will not be able to recall this information while you're taking the test. And afterwards, you're going to have an abundance of REM cycles, which is called REM rebound, when you start sleeping. But after the test, who cares, because at that point you won't remember anything. And like I said earlier, you need several days to recover from this sleep deficit. Given all these reasons on not to pull an all-nighter, this is how you avoid pulling one. So space out your studying. Referring back to what I said about spacing out your studies, the more you practice studying and going over information, the more time you'll have to build your neural pathways regarding this information, making it easier when you go on the test and you're seeing a certain question. Studying earlier in the day when your brain is more efficient rather than later in the day, and study in smaller increments, like studying between classes rather than studying for 3 hours at a time on one subject. It is more effective to study for 45-hour blocks, according to Business Insider, whether it's working on a project for your work for 45 minutes or studying chemistry for 45 minutes. Your brain lacks the attention span to run for longer at a high efficiency. If you really do need to pull an all-nighter, so be it. Like, I've been there, I've had to cram for a test that I've procrastinated all semester long. Make sure you're sleeping well before the all-nighter. Obviously, at this point, if an all-nighter is an option, you're most likely not getting your 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Sleeping well before pulling an all-nighter helps the sleep deficit afterwards, so you will not have a sleep hangover as long as 2 weeks. But if you're sleeping 4 to 5 hours a night, this would make your sleep deficit greater and make recovering from it a lot harder. Most people already who consider pulling an all-nighter don't get enough sleep. But in all seriousness, to be successful in academics, your job, or in sports, you need to be getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night to operate at the brain's highest efficiency. You should avoid all-nighters at all costs. Your grades will not improve based off of short-term memory, so space out your studies in short increments so you build those neural pathways in order to enhance your memory recall while taking tests. Cognition will not improve by not sleeping, sacrificing sleep for studying. That is a common misconception, especially among college students. And also, alertness does not equal awake and processing at a highest efficiency. You may be jacked up on a lot of caffeine, and this does not mean that you'll be able to recall all this information while on the test. You could be there drinking coffee, and you could just get frustrated because you won't be able to remember, but you're awake. You won't be able to recall the information, and so overall, just don't pull an all-nighter. It won't lead to better grades or any of that. Thank you.